Tonight, inside the foiled plot in Austria to attack a Taylor Swift concert. What we know about the two arrested, the link to ISIS, and the plan to target the crowd.
She actually had to ask me, well, Mommy, what's a terrorist?
What authorities here say about securing her upcoming shows in Canada. Bronze in taekwondo, silver in weightlifting, and now a chance to win gold in beach volleyball.
Canada is going to the final!
Already, they've gone further than ever before. And a new warning about millennials and a rise in some cancers.
This is a bomb that's been dropped on their life.
What's making them sick?
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thank you for joining us. We begin with the stunning new details about an alleged plot to attack a Taylor Swift concert in Austria, a plot that police say could have been devastating. This is the stadium in Vienna, where tonight Swift was supposed to kick off the Austrian leg of her Eras tour. Instead, it sat empty after authorities say a teenager who pledged allegiance to ISIS confessed to planning to kill as many people as possible at that venue. Jennifer Yoon walks us through what authorities are saying about the plot, what's known about the suspects, and how fans are reacting.
You belong with me.
Taylor Swift fans making the best of it. Disappointed, but Austrian authorities say fans like them were the target of a foiled plot designed to kill as many people as possible. Canadians who had traveled to see Swift's now cancelled shows say they're in shock.
She actually had to ask me, well, Mommy, what's a terrorist?
Paris, Manchester oder Moscow.
Authorities say the plot was similar to some of the worst terrorist attacks in recent years. The Bataclan in Paris in 2015, the Ariana Grande concert in Manchester in 2017, and the concert in Moscow 4 months ago where more than 140 people were killed. In Vienna, police say the plan was a suicide attack outside the venue where 30,000 were expected to gather, while 65,000 more were inside. At the main suspect's home, police found chemicals and machetes. The 19-year-old had pledged allegiance to ISIS and confessed to authorities he intended on using explosives and knives. Another suspect, a 17-year-old, had recently been hired by a company working at the stadium. This comes after several other threats tied to ISIS, including in Toronto and at the Paris Olympics. The Islamic State and Al-Qaeda are back, says Austria's top security official. The United Nations Security Council is also warning ISIS has beefed up recruitment efforts.
We've moved away since about 2014 from people traveling to places where the likes of Islamic State have a strong foothold, and they now stay at home looking at things on the internet, radicalizing themselves in the privacy of their own homes.
Targeting a public event like a concert sows fear. The goal, says this former national security analyst.
It's trying to produce a wave of violent extremism in order to frighten individuals.
Carvin says foiling a plot like this can lead to intelligence sharing.
Authorities are well aware of the threats around these events and are likely taking precautions as a result.
So, Jennifer, obviously some disappointment for the fans in Austria, but it does look like this tour will continue.
That's right. Taylor Swift is expected at Wembley Stadium in London, England next week, before making stops in Toronto and Vancouver. Authorities in both of those cities are trying to reassure the public. Toronto police say there are no credible threats, but they'll stay attentive to community concerns and are working with the organizers.
All right, Jennifer Yoon in Montreal. Let's go now to Paris and Team Canada's growing medal haul, starting with silver for weightlifter Maude Charron. One of the lifts that helped Charron secure silver in the women's 59-kilogram class. It's her second Olympic medal after winning gold in Tokyo. At those games, COVID meant no fans in the stands. This time, she had her supporters there to cheer her on.
It was wonderful. Just hearing the crowd, seeing my family there, seeing the Canadian flags in the crowd, no matter the color of the medal. It's just so much more value for me knowing my family's there.
Adding to her achievement, Charron had to move into a lower weight class for these games after her 64-kilogram event was removed from the Olympic program. That meant cutting 5 kilograms from her competition weight.
Can she burn her way to bronze? She can indeed.
And you're looking at another big achievement for Team Canada. That's Winnipeg's Skylar Park winning bronze in the women's under 57-kilogram taekwondo, her first Olympic medal. And let's keep it coming, because the win's due for the Canadian women's beach volleyball team. They are now preparing for the gold medal match, which is already Canada's best ever result. Salima Shivji was courtside today as the two Canadians savored the moment.
Short serve, Brandy picks it up, tight set.
A smash that rocked the court. Canada's duo Melissa Humana-Paredes and Brandy Wilkerson barreling closer to victory. As Canadian red flew high and the crowd held its breath. The last shot.
Canada is going to the final!
And the emotion pouring out. This team made history before even stepping onto the court. No female beach volleyball player from Canada has ever made it this far in the Olympics. The fans here know they're watching history and solid play.
They've pulled together so well. Like, I can see that they're calm
and determined. The duo's path to a medal position wasn't easy. They dispensed with an undefeated American team and blew past a strong Spanish side. Humana-Paredes and Wilkerson's cheering corner, full of family and friends, has been loud and proud, with a slogan for the other team.
They don't want it! They don't want it!
Not as much as the Canadians do. Proud dad Hernan Humana, a coach and former player himself, has no technical advice. He knows his daughter Melissa is in the zone.
The game plan is to win.
Humana used to play in Chile under the Pinochet dictatorship, so this Olympic moment in red and white is especially sweet.
The fact that we are representing Canada, the country that opened the arms to us, the country that allowed us to develop and become Olympians.
The game plan went as planned. The Canadian women basking in a moment they've long been waiting for.
It feels really incredible because we wanted to make history. We wanted to put ourselves on the map in Canada, put our sport on the map in Canada.
And inspire young Canadians from diverse backgrounds.
We come from a lineage of very strong people, very strong parents that immigrated, that made hard decisions, that made ends meet, so we understand what it means to really grind.
Not a grind when you play like this. These two going for gold. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Paris.
And Canada has a chance at another gold medal on Friday, this time in women's shot put. So that is Nova Scotia's Srah Mitton becoming the first Canadian woman ever to advance to a shot put final, and she qualified on her very first attempt.
China with the lead, DeGrasse working hard, right behind and he'll get third.
And a comeback for Canadian sprinter Andre DeGrasse. After coming up short in the men's 200-meter, he and his teammates are advancing to the final in the men's 4x100 relay. The women's relay team also advanced to their final and set a new Canadian record in the process. Both races are set for Friday. With 3 days of competition left, Canada sits in 11th place overall in the medal count with 21 medals, 6 gold, 5 silver, 10 bronze. The United States is in the lead with 103 medals. And sprinter Noah Lyles contributed to that U.S. medal count today with a bronze in the 200 meters despite testing positive for COVID.
And here comes Noah Lyles, but Tobago is going to upstage the American for gold.
After the race, Lyles was taken away in a wheelchair. In a statement, USA Track and Field said after a thorough medical evaluation, Noah chose to compete tonight. We respect his decision and will continue to monitor his condition closely. Well, the first televised presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris is now set for next month. That news comes after Donald Trump's first news conference since Harris became the Democratic nominee. Richard Madden now with more on how Trump's campaign is responding to his new opponents.
The Republican Party has the enthusiasm.
In his first campaign event this week, former President Donald Trump is looking to reclaim the spotlight, blasting his opponent from his Mar-a-Lago estate.
Kamala's record is horrible. She's a radical left person at a level that nobody's seen. She picked a radical left man.
Facing a presidential race that's changed dramatically in recent weeks, Trump is reversing course, now proposing 3 televised debates against Vice President Kamala Harris.
She can't do an interview. She's barely competent, and she can't do an interview. But I look forward to the debates because I think we have to set the record straight.
Harris now agreeing to one of them.
I am looking forward to debating Donald Trump, and we have a date of September 10th. I hear he is finally committed to it.
Trump's efforts to recapture momentum on election coverage he long dominated comes as the revamped Harris-Tim Walz ticket has energized Democrats and as the Trump campaign tries to define them.
We're not falling for these folks who are trying to divide us, trying to separate us, trying to pull us apart. That's not where the strength lies.
Trump dismissing their crowd sizes, falsely insisting his crowds, including his infamous one on January 6, 2021, was bigger than the crowd for Martin Luther King's historic I Had a Dream speech.
If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people, if not, we had more.
For now, the Harris campaign won't publicly commit to the 2 other debates, but both campaigns are reportedly in talks with the TV networks negotiating the ground rules. Richard Madden, CBC News, Washington.
On the U.S. East Coast, Storm Debby has weakened to a tropical depression, but is still causing deadly damage. Those are firefighters in North Carolina rescuing 3 children swept away in fast-moving water due to torrential rain. Elsewhere, several small tornadoes shredded buildings. At least 7 deaths have now been blamed on the storm. It's expected to bring heavy rain to parts of Ontario and Quebec tomorrow and into the weekend. Well, CBC News has obtained new documents that shed new light into the search for the Titan submersible. All 5 people on board died last year when it imploded on its way to the wreck of the Titanic. And as Ashley Burke tells us, the family of one crew member is now suing the company behind the expedition.
Known as Mr. Titanic, French explorer Paul-Henri Nargeolet visited the wreck site a record 37 times. He was among the 5 killed when the Titan submersible imploded, diving to the Titanic in 2023. Now his family suing for millions, claiming he died due directly to the persistent carelessness, recklessness, and negligence of the Titan's operator, OceanGate.
We are inside the submersible Titan.
The lawsuit claims the waiver signed by passengers wasn't sufficient. This expert says it did reportedly raise flags.
It does specify that the operation will be conducted inside an experimental submarine, a submersible vessel that has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body.
The lawsuit also claims OceanGate obscured vital details, and all 5 crew members knew they were going to die before the submersible imploded. CBC's The Fifth Estate spoke to Nargeolet's friend after the disaster.
I expressed my grave concerns to him.
CBC News has also now learned exclusive details about Canada's role in the search for the Titan. Obtained documents reveal as Canada's military and Coast Guard's aircraft, ships, and personnel raced to help, some updates went all the way up to Jody Thomas, the Prime Minister's national security advisor at the time. The records show this Canadian surveillance plane heard this underwater. Documents show the forces were highly confident those sounds were man-made by an object striking a hull. But in the end, the U.S. found debris from the Titan on the seafloor it said was consistent with a catastrophic implosion. Canada's Defense Department estimates its time and resources added up to more than $2.4 million. The Coast Guard estimates its efforts totaled more than $600,000. Money the government says was not an additional expense, but part of budgeted operational costs. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Washington.
The family of billionaire Frank Stronach is locked in a legal battle tonight. The 91-year-old is facing 13 sex crime charges. Now his granddaughter's lawyers are fighting for access to any corporate records that could reveal a cover-up. Thomas Daigle was in the courtroom.
In court for a contentious hearing,
lawyers representing warring factions of a mega-wealthy family. At issue is whether the Stronach group of companies hushed up and paid out claims of sexual misconduct by its billionaire founder.
Just take the thing away.
Frank Stronach is facing 13 sex crime charges, including rape, involving accusations from 10 complainants. Now, in a separate civil case, a lawyer for his granddaughter argues corporate assets may have been misspent. We're not talking about electric bills, he told the judge. We're talking about settlements for sexual harassment claims against Frank Stronach. In other words, he says top executives, including Frank Stronach's daughter Belinda, surely would have known if the firm reached non-disclosure agreements or financial settlements. A lawyer for former Stronach Group CEO shot back, saying it's one conjecture piled on top of another, a cascade of conjecture. And in an interview with CBC's The Fifth Estate this week, the 91-year-old Stronach denied the criminal charges.
We have a lot of data which totally, will prove that those things are lies.
In the civil case, consider how much money's at stake for his adult children and grandchildren. In 2018, Forbes estimated Frank Stronach's wealth stood at $1.5 billion US. And now?
Frank is probably worth, I don't know, somewhere between $2 and $4 billion these days. I think at stake is as much legacy issues as it is financial futures and fortunes.
It's now up to the judge to decide whether to order Belinda Stronach and others to hand over any evidence they might have. The result could add a new layer to a deepening scandal involving a family that was long one of Canada's most influential. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, Toronto.
Tonight, part of Russia remains under a state of emergency in what appears to be the third day of a large Ukrainian ground incursion. It's all unfolding right there in the Kursk region on the border with Ukraine. Kayla Hounsell shows us why some are calling the attack a bold move.
This destruction caused by Ukraine's army inside Russia's borders, according to Russian state media. Moscow says up to 1,000 Ukrainian troops entered Russia near the town of Soja Tuesday morning. The governor released these photos saying thousands are being evacuated from the Kursk region. Russian President Vladimir Putin calls the attack a provocation. Russian officials say at least 5 civilians have been killed. Ukraine has not officially commented.
Ukraine has significant success. We now control near 300 square kilometers of Russian territory.
This Ukrainian member of parliament spoke to CBC News from Kiev.
The message is very simple. If you started the war, you need to be prepared that your villages and your towns will be destroyed.
Ukraine's armed forces released this video purportedly showing Russian border guards surrendering.
It is a bold, audacious move on the part of the Ukrainians, which so far appears to have paid off.
This expert in Russian affairs says it's difficult to see what Ukraine's long-term plan is, but he says the move might force Russia to redeploy its troops, easing its attacks on eastern Ukraine.
If the Ukrainians are going to enter further into Ukraine or make similar attacks elsewhere, then the Russians need to guard against that and they need to make allowances for it, and even the Russians' resources are finite.
This is the third significant ground assault on Russian territory, and it appears to be the first formally directed by Ukraine's armed forces since the start of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine more than 2 years ago. In Kiev, some say the move is progress. Let them feel what our mothers, our boys who are fighting now feel. Let them feel what it's like to live and lose their children, says this woman. Ukrainians also bracing to see how Russia might respond. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, London.
Some alarming new findings show millennials are at an increased risk of some cancers.
Why are these individuals facing poorer outcomes?
What doctors say could be a factor. A new project to help farmers has some worried it will damage a major water source.
It's been a big fight for generations to try and save what is left.
Oh my God. Arkells stumble on a talent in a Paris bistro.
If you have someone who can sing like that, you don't have to do much. You just kind of stand back and let her shine.
We're back in 2 weeks. Competition at the CrossFit Games in Texas took a tragic turn. A 28-year-old competitor from Serbia died during the swimming event. He disappeared under the water during a morning competition. A dive team recovered his body about an hour later. The rest of the day's events were canceled, and an investigation is ongoing. Well, there's a new study that says millennials are at a higher risk of developing certain cancers. Christine Birak takes us through the findings and what doctors say could be driving that increase.
There's growing evidence younger people are more likely to develop certain cancers than their parents.
We also found for some of these cancers that mortality was also increasing in these young people.
A new study from the American Cancer Society found in the U.S., 17 of 34 cancers are being diagnosed more often in younger adults. For millennials born around 1990 compared to baby boomers born in the 50s, the risk of developing some cancers is 2 to 3 times greater, including kidney, small intestine, and pancreatic cancer.
What we want to understand now is why are these individuals not only being diagnosed with cancer at younger ages, but why are they also facing poorer outcomes?
While overall death rates from cancer have been dropping, the American study found there was a higher risk of death for young people with certain cancers, including endometrial, testicular, and colorectal cancer.
We don't want to freak people out. These are still very low numbers overall.
This Toronto cancer surgeon says cases have also been rising in Canada for years.
And we're seeing patients now who come in and who, have young children, who have very busy jobs, very, very busy lives, and this is a bomb that's been dropped on their life.
That's how Bryna Dillman felt. At 41, she saw blood in the toilet.
I went to the colonoscopy appointment, and that's where everything kind of unraveled.
She never imagined it was colorectal cancer. Her advice?
Seek advice from your doctor. Ensure that your doctor is there to listen.
It's not clear what's driving this trend, but doctors say 10 of the 17 cancers rising in younger adults are obesity related. Scientists suspect changes in diet, more sedentary lifestyles, and exposure to environmental chemicals could all be factors. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
As misinformation sparks violent protests in the UK, there is newfound attention on one of the country's past instigators.
I've caused a breach of peace. I'm being arrested.
The man who has fueled hate with his message.
Instead of talking about the individuals that perpetrate the crimes, he extrapolates that out and holds the whole of the Muslim community and the whole of Islam.
And hitting the pavement to get off the streets.
I want to define myself in a different way, not define myself as a drug user.
The running program that puts some on the road to recovery.
If you're having a bad day, go for a run. If something's haunting you from your addiction or something like that, go for a run.
The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next. That is video from inside an office building, and it shows the moment a 7.1 magnitude earthquake hit Japan's southern island of Kyushu. Weather cameras for a local broadcaster captured the moments of intense shaking, and inside the newsroom, staff taking cover. Officials say 9 people have minor injuries, but there was no serious damage. And flooding has damaged more than 100 homes in Alaska's capital city of Juneau. A nearby Glacial lake burst after a massive amount of rain. It's an annual concern, but officials say these floodwaters set a new record at nearly 5 meters high. In Saskatchewan, environmentalists and First Nations leaders are speaking out about a new provincial irrigation project they say will cause harm. The Saskatchewan River Delta is in the northeast, stretching into western Manitoba, but the plan is to divert the water to help irrigate farmland. Alexander Silberman traveled there, where some say the water levels are already low and this project could make them worse.
Barry Carrier knows these river channels. He's been navigating the Saskatchewan Delta his entire life.
This was all lake.
Carrier is concerned with the changes he's seeing. Dams are creating rapid shifts in water levels. Now, he fears a major new irrigation project is about to make things worse.
And it's dying.
and there's no other way to say it.
The province's $4 billion irrigation plan will create canals to divert water to more than 200,000 hectares of farmland. For Steve Primrose, it can't come soon enough. The farmer says it will allow new crops and boost food security.
Potatoes, carrots, onions, broccoli, you name it. Now with when we can apply some water, we can do a lot with that.
This water security researcher estimates the initial phase of irrigation would have minimal impact on the delta, but says further expansion could create challenges during drought.
It's not possible to put it back to what it was before development, but it is possible to slow down the decline and to even reverse some of that through environmental restoration projects.
Those solutions include reconnecting channels and changing how dams operate.
It's crying for help.
The chief of Cumberland House Cree Nation wants to play a direct role in managing the delta. Last year, the drinking water supply nearly dried up.
It's been a big fight for generations to try and save what is left.
The province is meeting with the community to try and address concerns. It says the plan will use a fraction of water available for irrigation. While the irrigation project likely won't break ground for another year, the water levels are already shifting from the effects of climate change, leaving this vast delta with an uncertain future. Alexander Silperman, CBC News, near Cumberland House, Saskatchewan.
Now let's break down the news shaping our world. Bitter divisions in the United Kingdom, where anger-filled protests erupted into violent riots this week.
People are fed up of being told you should be ashamed if you're white and working class.
A right-wing tinderbox of anti-Muslim sentiment ignited by dangerous online misinformation.
There is an attempt to exploit a very tragic situation.
One of those accused of using misinformation to fan the flames of anger, Tommy Robinson, the anti-Islam campaigner and convicted criminal, is one of the UK's most prominent far-right activists. Thomas Daigle has covered Tommy Robinson for years. So what do we know about his involvement?
You could say Tommy Robinson has been laying the groundwork, fanning anger, especially towards Muslims and immigrants, for his followers for years now, and all that was needed was a spark, and sadly that came last week with that mass stabbing and the deaths of 3 young children in Southport, England. What did Tommy Robinson say about all this? Unapologetically, in his words, "Don't say I didn't warn you." So in 2018, I looked into what this growing influence means for Robinson and his supporters. His name rallies those with like-minded views. An army so passionate about his cause, they show up outside the courthouse when he's inside.
Tommy speaks the truth.
About what?
About, I think you know what about. Islam, Sharia law.
Tommy Robinson fancies himself an activist and journalist known for provocative statements like this.
We don't have to stop radical Muslims, we have to stop Islam. I've caused a breach of peace, I'm being arrested.
A Facebook live stream ultimately got him arrested, reporting in his own way outside a trial covered by a publication ban. Authorities considered it contempt of court, but that's just part of the story.
This is a far-right, anti-Muslim activist with a history of violence and criminality who was sent to prison for breaking the law.
We don't want any more mosques in this country.
Just look at how Robinson first became known more than a decade ago by leading chaotic rallies with the self-styled English Defence League, a group promoting British values over what it considered creeping Sharia law.
Look around you, feel your strength.
Among his followers back then was Ivan Humble. He now rejects the group known as EDL, but keeps the tattoo as a reminder of just how enthralled he became.
There's nobody listening to me, and I found a voice in the English Defence League. If you self-brainwash yourself unconsciously, you don't really realise. Because you're reading the same stuff, you just don't really realise that it's affecting you in your head. It's quite sad, but then...
It's the first time he returns to Luton Town Hall since the group was banned here in the heart of Robinson's hometown. In his old stomping grounds, Robinson channeled fears of Islam as a supposed threat to local culture. Then turning to social media, Robinson gained an overseas audience and a big boost from Canada.
What he says is clear and philosophical and liberal.
Like-minded firebrand Ezra Levant offered Robinson a platform on his alternative network, Rebel Media.
Who are you here? Who are you?
Racking up millions of views with stunts like this.
You're scum. You're defending child rapists.
Antagonizing the accused and their families outside rape trials.
I'm here to expose people like you, all of you.
And blaming Islam as the source of the crime.
The fact that instead of talking about the individuals that perpetrate the crimes, he extrapolates that out and holds the whole of the Muslim community and the whole of Islam, or 1.6 billion, responsible.
His supporters saw his arrest as an attack on free speech. They marched in his defense, many likely unaware the demonstration was partly funded by a think tank an ocean away.
How do you spend money that goes to support, give air, oxygen to these comments?
So it's not about the oxygen that's giving to the comments, it's about his right to say it. It's important for an American organization to stand up for an individual talking about the threat of Islamism in his community, because what's going on there could also and is also occurring here in the United States.
Released from prison in 2018, Robinson gave few interviews.
All the mainstream media do is lie.
But a primetime spot on Fox News confirmed his audience had reached global proportions.
The minute you mention criticize Islam, you are deemed and attacked by everybody.
When his retrial got underway, with the threat of prison time looming, his supporters showed they'll have his back. And when he speaks his mind, they'll listen.
So just to be clear, Tommy Robinson hasn't been involved in the riots this week on the ground himself.
No, the irony here is he's been thousands of kilometers away posting about these riots from the beach, soaking up the sun in Greece and in Cyprus. The tabloids caught up with him there. Pointedly, British prosecutors have said that if you're on social media influencing and egging on these riots from abroad, you will be extradited. They haven't named him, but in any case, he has to be back in a London court in person in front of a judge in October. The judge ordered him to be there in a separate libel case. He's already in a bunch of trouble and could be in deeper trouble soon.
All right, Thomas Daigle, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, coming up tomorrow, we'll break down the role misinformation played in these riots. Anger and violence in the streets. Hate directed at the UK's immigrant population.
When you're a person of colour, when you're Muslim, when you're a woman, you know, it doesn't come as a surprise.
The match that ignited the tinderbox of division, social media.
Social media has changed some of their organising models, so we have to be on top of that.
The latest troubles triggered by false online posts wrongly identifying the suspected killer of 3 young girls as a Muslim asylum seeker, even giving a fake name.
It was very quick, the transmutation from online conversation and hate being directed in communities online to offline mobilization.
So tomorrow, our panelists will dig in on that one and look at what is behind all that dangerous misinformation. Well, next, a BC program aims to help those in the grips of addiction.
That looked like unemployed, homeless, charges, psychosis.
Why strapping on running shoes could be the answer. Next. Vancouver's downtown east side, rehab programs filled with tough stories of addiction and heartache.
Unemployed, homeless, charges, psychosis.
But a unique residential treatment program is giving new hope one step at a time.
Now I've got this calm, which leads to a kind of confidence, which leads to a belief that I can do other things.
Running for recovery and changing lives. Lindsay Duncombe caught up with them as they trained for a 5K and learned how they managed to pull their lives back from the brink through running.
2, 1, here we go. This is the start of the 5-kilometer run of the Port Williams Sport Festival.
Just a couple of years ago, running in a suburban 5K
Good luck, have fun out there.
would have been unimaginable for Sean Walls.
This is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I was not a runner when I came into recovery. I was not in good shape when I came into recovery. It's nothing that I could have accomplished alone.
Now, he's healthy and sober. Something about the exercise, the community, pushes away his mind's anxious soundtrack. As he runs, Wall's thoughts are simple.
One more step, one more step, one more step, one more step.
It's working. Walls hasn't touched crystal meth or booze for 2 years.
We got a couple runs going.
This is how it started. The Run Club at Union Gospel Mission. Men in recovery run or walk 3 times a week.
You're a lot stronger than you think. And as you put your mind to something, you can overcome. So, that being said, let's go have a great day.
It's part of a residential treatment program in the heart of Vancouver's downtown east side.
We'll go as far as you can. No problem. Okay.
We aren't showing the faces of men currently in treatment. It's a vulnerable time. When Walls first showed up, he was a mess.
What did that look like?
That looked like unemployed, homeless, charges, psychosis, in the space of about 6 months.
Downhill, fast.
Fast.
Walls is 49. He got heavy into meth a decade ago. Tried to get clean a couple of times. It didn't stick. UGM was his 3rd rehab program.
What is different this time?
I think this time around it's a focus on my physical health, something that I found with the running group. You run a little bit and you walk a little bit. When I first started, the very first interval is 1 minute of running, 2 minutes of walking. You do that 8 times. I couldn't do it 6 times. I couldn't run for 6 minutes with breaks in between.
What did it feel like trying to run for 6 minutes?
Frustrating, difficult, surprised I was that out of shape. Following the program, I was able to build stamina and build stamina and build stamina. Now I'm running about 40 minutes at a time.
Make no mistake, though, this isn't fun for Walls.
What did it feel like out there today?
Like it usually feels. It's a lot of work. I don't enjoy running. I enjoy having run.
Yeah. So this moment,
this moment, this is what feels, yeah.
The joy is here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cross the street here.
It's often tough. We joined Walls on an early morning run this summer. He's with coach and recovery counselor Jeremy Woke.
Just let me know how you're feeling, okay?
Oh, good.
Yeah. Do you need to stop?
Huh?
Do you need to stop?
The goal is 10K, but Walls feels nauseous.
You okay? What do you think? Continue?
I'll keep running.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think I'm gonna puke in the street, but...
That's fair.
I don't feel good.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Sean's feeling a bit rough.
Bit rough.
Yeah, we're gonna continue running.
On Woke's advice, Walls decides to walk a bit and catch up with the other runners on the way back. He's learned to think about running like he thinks about recovery.
I know that tomorrow might not be better, but it'll definitely be different. You know, tomorrow's not going to be the same as today. There's always the opportunity for improvement.
You're doing great. How are you feeling? Good.
Coach Woke's strategy is to listen to the men he works with.
I want to meet the guys where they're at. I believe that every single person is worth the time and effort. And it's about the journey, it's about the progress they make. It's not about the destination, it's about the next step. Like, that to me is just as important as someone being able to run 5-10K.
Woke is in recovery too. He got addicted to cocaine while working in construction. He's been sober 8 years.
I want to create a space, I would say, where guys can actually open up and talk about some of the stuff, their deep brokenness and deep pain and deep things and they don't have to avoid it, and that there's someone there that will share the load with them.
One way or another, I'm going down there and I'm paying for my first semester's fees.
A lot of that sharing happens while they run. Like Sean Walls, runners who have completed their treatment stick with the group.
Dude, I can barely keep going.
I know.
And there are volunteers too, people who don't have a history with substance abuse but want to show up and help.
It keeps me connected to a good group of guys.
Why is that important?
Well, addiction is about isolation and recovery is about connection and community.
Wall's inspiration, Michael Pinchak. He's fast, really fast. His next goal is a half marathon in 1 hour and 15 minutes. Pinchak runs with the group when he can, but he's busy these days. Just finished plumbing school and starting his own business.
How would Michael from 2.5 years ago react to Michael now?
He'd probably be proud of him. I think he'd be really proud of him, saying you did the right thing, right? This is you. That's what he'd say. This is actually you, Michael. What were you thinking? What were you thinking, Michael?
What's it like to be back here now that you're in recovery?
It's great to be back here.
Pinchak used to live on the streets.
That used to be me.
The same streets he now runs on.
When I was in my addiction, I always used to go sit at the turf fields on the benches over there and watch the young kids play soccer and watch them play sports.
What did you feel when you saw people in a healthier place than you were?
Jealousy, envy. You know, I knew that's where I wanted to be, right?
Pinchak made repeated attempts to get sober, and he too believes that running helped make the difference this time.
Physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, it helps in every different aspect of your recovery, 100%. Mind, body, soul, it just clears everything. If you're having a bad day, go for a run. If something's haunting you from your addiction or something like that, go for a run, right?
That's a guy who's put behind his difficulties and focused on looking forward, looking at all of the things that he can do. You know, he's thinking about his potential, not his time spent.
That's where Sean Walls wants to be.
I mean, you can't forget where you came from, but certainly a lot of this I want to be behind me. I want to define myself in a different way, you know, not define myself as a drug user, but, you know, a student and a contributor and partner, friend. Now I've got this calm, which leads to a kind of confidence, which leads to a you know, belief that I can do other things. I'm going back to school in September.
What are you studying?
Mechanical engineering.
That's huge.
Yeah, setting the bar low.
How are you feeling about that?
Excited and terrified.
Yeah.
How's it feeling, Sean? Almost there.
Which is not all that different from how it feels in a race. Fear at the beginning, tough in the middle.
Now, Sean Walls from Vancouver, congratulations to you.
And then the best part.
How did you feel completing this 5K as you planned?
I felt really good, yeah. Anyone can do it. Anyone can get here.
There's never really a finish line on the journey to stay sober. But like running, these runners say it gets easier with time and is better with a group.
Next, Arkells frontman discovers a hidden talent.
Someone who can sing like that, you don't have to do much. You just kind of stand back and let her shine.
The surprise rendition in our moment. That is the rock band Arkells, Canada's very own, doing a show for Canada's athletes at the Canada Olympic House in Paris. And the fun did not stop there. After performing, they headed to a bistro, as you do, and stumbled upon even more talent. Their spontaneous ballad makes our moment.
I keep on falling in
A friend was going to the bathroom and he overheard someone singing. And it turned out it was a server who was just cleaning up. And my friend, Riley, he came back to the table and he said, "You got to hear this server in there. She sounds amazing." So I kind of wandered in there just because I kind of want to hear her sing. And I saw this piano. And I said, "Oh, do you want to sing something together? I could try to accompany you." She just said, "Let me start, and then you can follow." And the thing is, I'm not that great of a pianist, but I was like, okay, I'll see what happens. And you can see in the video, I'm trying to find the key that she's in.
I keep on falling.
Oh my God.
We
we did Alicia Keys' Falling. And you know, when you have someone who can sing like that, you don't have to do much. You just kind of stand back and let her shine. We just played a show for our Canadian Olympians at the Canada House. I don't even think I told her I was in a band. It was funny, it was sort of a short interaction because I think they want us to get out of there. They're like, can we close, please? It was like, at this point, it's like 1:30 in the morning. It was just the perfect nightcap.
So here's the thing. She may not have known he was in a band. He doesn't know her name, doesn't know her social media accounts. All any of us know is that she is a server at La Mer Catherine in Paris. If you see this, call us. We'll let you know who was playing with you. From all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app. Subscribe to The National's YouTube channel. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.